In part C, we need to factor the polynomials. And so the first thing anytime you're trying to factor is to look for any greatest common factor that you can. And then look at what's left and see if you can factor it any further. So in number 9, first thing as we look for a greatest common factor is I see that all three of these terms have an x in them. So my greatest common factor is x. And so when I divide x to the third by x, get x squared. There's 2 more x's on top than there are on bottom. 2x squared divided by x, I bring down the minus 2, and there's 1 more x. Minus 15x divided by x, the x's cancel, we're left with minus 15. So I took out the greatest common factor, but what I'm left with is a trinomial that's quadratic. These are the kind that we can factor using the x box. So we need to take that x squared minus 2x minus 15 and factor it. And so I'm going to take it out separate because I don't want to forget about the x in front. And so to factor this one, I need to think about what 2 numbers multiply to get, let's say, 1 times negative 15. The first term, the x squared term, times the constant term. 1 times negative 15 is negative 15. The middle term is negative 2. And so I'm looking for what 2 numbers multiply to get negative 15 that add to get negative 2. And so if I make a little list here, 1 times negative 15, 2 doesn't work, 3 times negative 5, 4 doesn't work. But 3 plus negative 5 is negative 2. So negative 2x can separate, so I have x squared, and then I have plus 3x minus 5x minus 15. So the first 2 terms, the common factor of those 2, so now I'm factoring by grouping. X squared and 3x both have a factor of x. X squared divided by x is x. 3x divided by x is 3. Negative 5x minus 15, the common factor is negative 5. So when I divide negative 5x by negative 5, I'm left with x. Negative 15 divided by negative 5 is positive 3. Both factors, both parts have x plus 3, so that's one of my factors, and I'm left with x and minus 5. So what was inside the parentheses factors into x plus 3 times x minus 5. So I want to go back to this and keep my greatest common factor, but now change the x squared minus 2x minus 15 into x plus 3 and x minus 5. Now there's no more exponents left, so this is fully factored. That's as far as we can go. So looking at number 10, it's slightly different. There's now 4 terms. I still want to look for a greatest common factor, but I don't see any that's in all 4 terms. So the next step is to factor by grouping. So x cubed plus 2x squared, they both have an x squared in them. When I divide x cubed by x squared, I get just an x. X squared times x is x to the third. 2x squared divided by x squared, the x squareds cancel, we're left with plus 2. In the second half, negative 9x minus 18, both the 9 and 18 can both be divided by 9. So I want to pull out a negative 9, and when I divide by negative 9, the negative 9's cancel, I'm left with x. Negative 18 divided by negative 9, I'm left with positive 2. And as I was hoping, they both have an x plus 2. And what's left on the outside is x squared and minus 9. So x plus 2 doesn't have any exponents, but x squared minus 9 does. Can we factor that? I think so. X squared minus 9, I notice that that is x that's being squared, and it is 3 that's being squared. It's the difference of squares, the difference of perfect squares. And so this is the part that factors into x plus 3 and x minus 3. So I take each of those parts that are inside the parentheses, and one time with addition, one time with subtraction. So x squared minus 9 factors, sorry about the screen there, x squared minus 9 factors into x plus 3 times x minus 3. So the final factored form, x plus 2 stays, but x squared minus 9 can be written as x plus 3 times x minus 3. Now there are no exponents left, so that is fully factored. So the two problems that you're going to do on the back side, one has a trinomial, look for that greatest common factor. The second one has a misprint. This is supposed to be 25x to the second power, 25x squared. So it's x cubed minus 25x squared plus 5x minus 125. And so that one has 4 terms. Look to factor by grouping.